So, the other day, this huge parcel arrived. As you can see, it is quite large. And we're going to unpack it because there is something rather interesting inside of it. Now, if you like old shite electricals like I do, this is quite possibly the pinnacle of utter shiteness. I mean, it probably exceeds the wonderment of shite that is this Amstrad emailer, a device well known for randomly dialing 0906 numbers and running up your phone bill without you even knowing. So, let's get this off, this huge amount of cling film. And as you can see, I'm not using a knife or anything because I want to not damage the wonderful treat that is within. Let's lift. Oh, it is heavy. Let's lift it up. So, and let's pull this down and get that out of the way. Oh, didn't want to do that. Right, that's that out of the way. Let's work out how we're going to get into this. I might have to use a small screwdriver just to scribe along the top, like so, to just break this brown tape. And that's coming away nicely. A little bit on the edge here, and there, and then over here, and we are beginning to see what is inside. Oh, the mystery. Mystery continues. Let's see if we can get this bit off. There goes my rule. I'm not using anything pokey to get in there. This is really well packed, thanks to my friend Wayne. You can see on his channel, Mega Wayne D, for sending this down to me. If you want to know how I got this sent to me, I'll actually tell you, because it's not actually that big a story. So I used a company called Shipley, and Shipley is kind of like almost like a broker, I guess, where you post what you want to have collected or delivered, or in this case collected from Wayne and sent down to me. You put in the basic dimensions, how much it weighs, what the item actually is, and then you get quotes. And typically what sort of tends to happen with these things is you ask the person that is supplying the kit to package it up as best they can. And what happens then is somebody, one of the third parties that Shipley has on their books, or sort of uses the Shipley facility, will come and collect it, and they'll typically sort of wrap it in their own sort of soft materials like duvets, mattresses, etc. So you're pretty much guaranteed to have something come to you, hopefully in one piece. In the past, I've actually sold a rather tired Bang & Olufsen 8902, Beovision 8902. Pretty much identical to the one I have now, except on the one I was selling, the tube was not in the best of shape. Sold it quite literally for £1 on eBay. I was paid, and I thought, oh, they're never going to collect. they've paid me, that's it, I'm probably never going to get rid of this telly. And then a couple of weeks later, somebody from a shipping agency contacted me and said, oh, we want to come and pick up your telly. And it actually went to the BBC props department and featured in a children's anthology series called something like Creeped Out or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I actually watched the episode that it was in, and it was in quite a nice period 1980s room, and underneath it was a Ferguson 3V23 VHS machine, and then on top of it, on top of this sort of nice cabinet, was my old 8902. So that was quite nice to see. Now, let's stop the waffling and let's see if we can put this on its side carefully, like so. Let's see if we can get this box off. As you can see, there's quite a large box. Might actually make more sense to go upside down-ish. Take it out that way. Carefully does it. Although it's so well packed, it does actually seem to be attached to the rest of it. So what I might have to do, go back this way round. And be brutal with it in a way that doesn't damage the high quality asterisk contents within a treat yet to behold and grace us with its presence. Oh, blimey. Yes. Yes, now we're making progress. Yes. Yes. Now things are happening. Good things. This is really well packed. Gotta hand it to him, this is superb packing. This, by the feel of it, is the back. You can feel the lumpy bits on the rear. And this, probably the front. Yes, it is the right way up, so that's something. Break that down a bit more. Let's go that there, and let's go up. There we are. On the side, and move that out the way. There we are. Let's move this. Sit that on top of the Jag. Don't worry, the Jag is covered in a car cover and it's just a cardboard box, so it's fine. And let's settle this in. Let's move the cardboard there. Let's get it settled into its home. There we are, like a glove. Like a glove, look at that. Perfect. as if it was made to live there. Okay, here we go. Again, checking that yes, I do have the a cough. I do have the right bit at the front. Oh, you can see a hint of something. It's a tube. It's a CRT of some description. It's a strange CRT. Oh, there it is. Yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, although let's be honest, it's probably just gentlemen, judging by my channel statistics, we have quite possibly one of the worst tellies ever made. And thank you, Wayne. Wayne has provided me with a serving suggestion for the set. Basically fire extinguisher into this tube, and there's the guy from Dempsey and Makepeace doing the end of life on the Philips VR 2022 there. Then we'll just come down a little bit more, and if you want to look at Wayne's channel, there you go. He's included his channel name, and yes indeed, we do love Mega Wayne D. His channel is actually really informative, to be honest with you. He does a lot of sort of restorations of old TV sets, and has a light-hearted approach to it as well. But my God, look at this. Isn't this just the best? Look at it, it's so shit. I love it. Got whatever that is there. Oh, look at that. I'm over the moon. Oh God, it's so awful. It's so awful, yet also strangely brilliant as well. Now, on to the title of this video. Why is it called I Have a Look at One of Bully's Special Prizes? Well, this, on quite a number of occasions, well, I can remember one time, on a few occasions, this was on Bully's special prize board, which, if you don't know, on Bullseye they had this prize board, which was divided into black and red sections on later series. On series 1, it was actually completely different, but the one that we all remember is the black and red board. So you had a black and red board, and it was a case of keep out the black and in the red, you don't get nothing for 2 in a bed. In other words, stay at the black, make sure you hit the red. If you get 2 in a red, you lose the prize. And this rather special treat was one of the ones behind what would have been number 8. So you had, actually, sorry, number 9. So you had 8 segments on Bully's prize board. And the prizes would typically be something, you know, in one, make sure you're always awake in the morning with this fantastic tea's made, or something along those lines, you know, sort of real 1980s style prizes. They were limited to the value of the prize because I think the Independent Broadcasting Agency, or whatever it was, the IBA, said that you weren't allowed to have prizes over a certain value. Although they did seem to get away with giving away lavish holidays, caravans, Morris Towels, mini metros, that sort of thing. But that would have been when you were gambling 101 or more. Non-darts player goes first. So you basically gamble away your Fidelity AVS 2000 or whatever you'd won on the prize board. And if you won, you would get to keep everything. If you didn't win, you would lose everything. Absolutely everything. You get your BFAH, or your bus ride home, as Jim would say. Jim Bowen, absolutely classic chap. He was originally a club comedian, so he did a lot of, sort of club circuit stuff, and he sort of seemed to land into the Bullseye role, and the show became legendary because of him. And it was prime tea time viewing for a Sunday. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Used to love it. Many happy memories of settling down on a Sunday evening or late afternoon to watch Bullseye. But yeah, anyway, back to this. So this has been covered in some kind of sort of Fablon Conti board type black ash effect stuff. Originally it would have been this sort of brown colour that you can see sort of in here. So, and also originally it would have had underneath, it would have had a little case that came in. So little sort of nice little sort of case, cabinet, little glass fronts. You could store your LPs in there and your tapes and anything else that you might want to store. And yeah, so let's get the rest of this packing off and let's see if it works, because it has come a long way. It's come all the way from Newcastle, believe it or not. And this uses the actually surprisingly reliable Fidelity ZX3000 chassis. It has, you're not going to believe this, it has a SCART socket. So you were already sort of quite ahead with this. However, it had a few weaknesses from the TV chassis perspective. Mainly, the line output transformers were made of chocolate. Not literally, but they were particularly the best in the world. And that would sort of typically be your common complaint for these. TV engineers of the time absolutely hated these things because you would typically find them at the top of a high-rise, and they would normally need to go in for shop work because you couldn't do the repair in the customer's property because you'd need to, you know, test equipment and stuff that you didn't necessarily have. So you'd have to take them all the way down, usually with a broken lift, all the way down, and then out to your van or Ford Escort Estate or whatever you were using in the trade in those days. Right, here's the plug. Nice retro plug as well. Doesn't have the safety things on there, so that can stay in place. Let's grab this, plug it in. Well, the degauss has just gone. Just heard that. We have a light on the front, so these LEDs are lit up, and we have a picture. This, yes, this. Oh my God. That's brilliant. I knew it did that, but that's so crap. Oh, that's superb. And then you press it again and your record player goes back in. Now, I don't think I'm going to use that often because they like to break. And I think Amstrad, actually, who bought Fidelity in the end, actually tried to get a patent on this whole mechanism. I don't think the patent ever happened in the end. But this really is a testament to what Lord Sir Alan would call the mug's eyeful. You've got your VU meters, you've got your LEDs, the VU meters with limited number of LEDs. You got all your buttons, you got your sockets, you got your microphone inputs for some reason, you got your radio. It is just brilliant. Look at it. Let's see if it receives. Let's go to tuner if we can. So I think what we need to do is, that's the main power, that's TV power. So there we are, that's powered on the amplifier circuit, as in, not the amplifier circuit, the circuit for this. Let's go to tape. Yes, there's the tape deck. Let's see if I have a tape. There's no speakers in it because it actually has, you actually have to use external speakers. Now, what's the sort of thing a typical owner of this would have put into it? That's quite possible. They may have used a bit of Tammy Wynette, maybe. Let's pop it in. Actually, let's do a check on the erase head. Is it an electronic erase head? Ooh, that's already one step above a lot of equipment these days. It has a proper electronic erase head. So in other words, it applies a voltage to the erase head rather than trying to rely on some shonky permanent magnet. I've said this before, even in the 80s, the shit stuff was actually pretty good. That seems to go around. Might not see anything on the VU meters until you turn the volume up a bit. And there you go, look at that. That would actually be to quite high volume at this point. So I'll just turn that down. You can actually see there the infrared remote control thing blinking as you do that. This does come with a remote, but unfortunately I don't have the remote. I'm sure they do turn up on eBay, so I might actually look out for one. Let's do a rewind. So I'd say somebody's probably been inside this because that's rewinding quite well. Seems to be playing. Unfortunately, I don't have any suitable speakers at the moment, so I need to get hold of a nice set of smallish speakers to go alongside it. I do have some larger speakers, but they're sort of too large to go alongside it, so I probably want to get some smaller ones that I can just sort of put alongside it. Right, the tuner, does that work? So we go into tuner, and there's your tuner up here. Go into FM. So it's very likely this won't work because it's going to be using the actual aerial, although it does seem to have got a signal there. So stronger FM signals, it certainly seems like it will find something. So that's working. And if we put the telly on again, you can actually have the TV turned on, so the picture is going to be there, but TV sound will turn, obviously, the TV sound back on. If you go back to tuner, you're probably going to get the tuner. Disc is the record player. We've got tape. Then we've got mics, aux, and line S. So I think we do have a line source or line input. So you could, I don't know, you might be able to connect a CD player to it. How exciting. I really like this. This is sort of the epitome. This is the peak of tat. It is the peak of shite. And it's brilliant. I absolutely bloody love it. What a fantastic thing. What else have we got on here? channel. We can go up through the channels. Obviously we won't have anything because there is no analog broadcasting anymore. It has a total of 8 presets. We've got volume, treble, bass and balance. So quite a fully featured set of volume controls. Got a little indicator there, mono stereo, spatial stereo, stereo wide. So I think it's got that sort of that fake effect stereo that the Amstrad CTV 2200 and 2210 had. A little bit like the super sound function on the Ferguson TX series of sets. And incidentally, there is one of those. Somewhere up there. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, right at the top. But isn't that brilliant, eh? Look at that. Look at what you could have won, and indeed. Although that's actually the wrong segment to the show, but look at what you could have gambled away, and you didn't gamble it. That's fine. You haven't gambled it away. You've got your telly centre, your teas made, your children's tricycles, and oh yes, your crystal decanter with glasses. Bloody brilliant. That's obviously main power and off. Now let's have a look at this quite frankly hilarious owner's manual. Look at that. Isn't that terrible? It looks like it's been printed on a dot matrix. Obviously it hasn't, but it looks so tacky. It's nowhere near the sort of level of quality as a Sony set of the era, but you know, this isn't a Sony set of the era. This is a Fidelity. There was actually a I think you can find it on YouTube. There is quite an interesting documentary about Fidelity, and they compare Fidelity with Panasonic. So Panasonic are they have a factory in Wales, and Fidelity have their factory in London, I think, according to the address there. And you could just see how badly mismanaged things were at Fidelity, to the point where they were actually sold to Amstrad in the end. So that's why in the late 80s you had the Amstrad Fidelity range of audio equipment. This particular set, I can't remember if this was Amstrad era or Fidelity era. I think it was Fidelity era, and it would have been sold alongside the smaller AVS 16 or the AVS 1600, which would have been basically a 16-inch version of this, but it was a sort of a more sort of tower setup in this one. This was sort of the this was the big one. This was the executive level. You can even tell it's the executive level one because it's the AVS 2000 GL, the Grand Lux of television sets. I mean, I would love to see what the Gear version or the Gear X or even the AVS 2000E would have been like, but yeah. Instructions, typical for this era, everything is covered in great detail. And it's actually quite nice that you do have a set of printed instructions. Also unusual to see is information about the SCART pinout, and bloody hell, look at this, it supports RGB. Something this shite supports RGB SCART. What a great set. It's actually quite impressive. You've actually got all of the various pinouts for the SCART Euro connector. Little bit of information about the remote control. Operation of the remote control, a whole fault finding section. And total music power of 24 watts. So that would be, I think that's MPO. That would be, I think, RMS 12 watts per channel, which is not particularly loud, but not bad for a television. But effectively inside of this, it will just be pretty much single panel there, basic amplifier. TV chassis will probably be in there somewhere. I've never actually been inside one of these. I don't want to go inside it now because it works. Don't touch it. If it's working, leave it alone. Just enjoy it. Which is unusual for me to say, because I normally like getting inside these things and having a look. Before I do use it, I probably will remove the lovely prepared stickers on the front. But once again, many thanks, Wayne. I think this is superb. Absolutely brilliant. What a bloody fantastic, awful piece of equipment. Absolutely wonderful. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this as much as I've enjoyed it. Take care and see you soon. Did you honestly think I was going to leave this video without having a look inside it? Of course not. So what do we have tube-wise? It's actually different to what I thought. This is an A51 427X. That is a, what's an S4 tube? So PIL S4. I'm going to be careful because it is still charged at the moment. There's the gun assembly. Precision inline, that's what PIL stands for. There's our SCART socket, and there's our tiny little chassis. There's the lopt, and I'm not certain that's ever been changed, so I will get a spare in just in case. There is our mains in, by the looks of it, little transformer there. We have another transformer down here, which I'm guessing is probably for the rest of the equipment. That's our record player assembly. Uses a little motor from made in Japan. That's a good sign. Here's our inputs. So obviously we've got speakers out. We have an aux input, which is quite cool. And actually it has its own FM aerial. I don't know why I thought it would use that, because that's going to be for the television, but anyway. Then coming into this section, actually this is a bit of a surprise because it's got it's a proper circuit board, as in it's not just flat up against the panel, which I thought it would be. It's a proper amplifier, which is quite cool. I'm actually quite impressed with that. That's not as totally shite as I thought it would be. Don't know what the quality's like, but we'll soon find out when we get some suitable speakers. There's our tape deck up there. That actually doesn't look too bad. It's going to be the lower end of what was available at the time, but as I've said before, low end 80s is still pretty good. This is lovely. That's the power supply into this main unit, and yeah, that's lovely. It's rather nicely done with that chocolate block there. That's quite typical of the time. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, I'm going to get back onto this, and I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching.